Welcome
to Dark Narratives. I'm Isabella.
And I'm Alexandria.
Oh shit.
So I'm like using my Bluetooth, just like almost like AirPods, not fancy AirPods, just like my Bluetooth headphones. And then all of a sudden they just like stopped working on me. Anyway, so I was like, okay, I'll just go get my other Bluetooth headphones, like my big headphones. And then they were flashing red, so they were dead. So I was like, okay. So now I have to go do what I was trying to avoid in the first place, was untangle my like cord headphones from the bottom of the chair leg. And it wasn't like I could just slide it off the chair leg. It was like in the bench of one of our chairs. So it's like you can just slide it out. And I remembered that earlier in the day, my oldest got a hold of my headphones. And it was one of those moments, I'll deal with it later. I don't want to argue about it. Like one crisis at a time. So I just let it be. And then I look and it was like, I don't know, like 20 seconds. It wasn't that long. Not 20 seconds, but it wasn't that long. I go to look and she's like, look, mommy, look at what I did.
Oh,
I was like,
no.
I was like, I'll deal with that later. And then later came and it was like,
oh, you know what that reminds me of? It's in the early 2000s when there was no Bluetooth headphones or anything, and you'd put your iPod Bluetooth headphones and you had the cord and you'd put it in your pocket and it would get so tangled up.
Oh my God, yes.
Remember trying to take them out of your pocket, trying to get them in your ears, and they were so tangled up. It was like a knot from hell. You know what I did once? I had an iPod and it was when the different colored ones came out. I had a pink one. I went to a car wash once and it was in my car and I was cleaning all the garbage out of my car and I accidentally threw it out and I didn't realize it until a couple days later. So it's gone.
No. Oh my god. Yeah, Dylan had these like wireless JBL headphones and I was using them once outside. So I was using them doing housework, picking up garbage, like just a bunch of stuff. And I remember I had went and picked up a prescription or something. So then you have that prescription bag.
Yeah.
And I had taken the prescription out in the car on the way home.
No.
And so I just had the bag. So then I can't remember exactly how it happened, but I do know that I got sidetracked doing something outside and I put the bag on the deck. And then eventually I took the headphone out and I didn't want to go inside and put it in the case. So I was like, oh, I'll put it in this prescription bag and I'll remember it. Yeah, I was I'll remember it because I need like this bag needs to go back inside, totally forgetting I took the prescription out of it. And then not too long later, I'm piling up all this garbage and that bag ends up in the garbage and I put it in the bin to go to the dump.
Mm-hmm. Oh, bye-bye, headphone.
Yeah, and then a couple days later, Dylan's like, hey, where's my headphone? I was like,
oh, shit. And was it just one or both?
It was just one. So we had the other one. I felt so stupid. As soon as he was like, oh, where is it? I was just like, ghost. I'm like,
He didn't get mad at you?
Because I didn't think about it until he asked for it.
And he didn't get upset?
No, he didn't, actually.
Oh.
He was really, really calm about it. I was like, I fucked up. I really fucked up.
And here's my husband who literally got mad at me today because I have too many beverages in the
Tell them
now to get to something horrible.
Yeah, this is see how I just deflated there? This is so terrible. And I told myself, I told you too, I just don't think I can do any kid cases after becoming a mom.
Yeah, but you were saying that this one you want to get solved. So that's why you're kind of bringing it back.
Yeah, and I mean, we're super new, but, I don't think any kind of coverage on this, no matter how big or small you are, is bad. We're going to talk about the case Amy Mihaljevic. October 27th, 1989, 7th grader Jason Mihaljevic gets home from school around 3:20 p.m. He's expecting to see his sister, who was let out an hour earlier than him. But when he got there, he did not see his sister. At that point, Jason decides to call his mom, who's at work. And that was the norm for the family, is when the kids got home, the parents were at work and they would call their parents to let them know when they got home. So he calls his mom at work and asks her, do you know where Amy is? Like, she should be home by now. So Margaret, Amy's mom, didn't really have any answers for Jason. Amy should have been there by now. And she decides that she needs to leave work and, get home and see what's going on. But this is really weird. When she gets up to leave work, her phone rings. She does answer the call. On the other line is Amy. Amy was calling to let her mom know that she was home, and she wanted to tell her mom that she would see her soon. Margaret gets off the call, and she's quite alarmed at this point. She just spoke to her son, who was literally at home, telling her mom Amy is not there. And it's not like we're nowadays where we can see who's calling.
Oh, yeah.
Or even
the
like
80s.
when caller ID started, like there's no screens on these phones.
Yeah, you really got to set the scene. No cell phones, no social media, no text messaging.
So Margaret leaves work. When she gets home, Amy was in fact not home. So wherever Amy called from, it was not from home. As a mom, I don't even know where I feel like I would just go in fight mode and every part of me would just shut down for a minute.
Just complete anxiety. Oh
just
my God.
So scary.
Because imagine having that feeling of, first of all, your adrenaline kicks in because your son says, hey, my sister's not here. Your little girl's not there. You get a call. Oh, like that. Okay, she's there.
Yeah.
You come back home. All of a sudden, oh my God, it's even worse.
You had that glimmer of hope and then
just ripped away from you. Yeah.
So Margaret wouldn't know it at that time, but that phone call with Amy would be the last time she hears her daughter's voice.
Oh my God. And was it actually, or will you get there?
I think it was, yeah. So I'm going to give you some information about Amy. Amy Mihaljevic, she was 10 years old. She was like any other 10-year-old. I mean, she loved to play outside, be with her friends. She really enjoyed her sleepovers with her friends, riding her bike. I remember, when I was 10 and I loved to do all those things too. Aww. She did have a really big love of horses, though. That was her passion. She was riding her horse all the time. She won ribbons for it. She took riding lessons.
That's impressive.
She really, for 10 years old, I would say she seems so responsible. Have the commitment of riding your horse enough to get ribbons. And
it's hard. The muscles and everything you have to commit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more impressive than people think.
She was really, really smart. She did have an older brother who we talked about previously. That would be Jason. And Amy was in the 5th grade. She did like to have many sleepovers with her best friend. They actually did a Ouija board.
Oh,
yeah, at 10 years old.
Love it.
Right? I'm like, I love that.
I love that.
Have you actually done a Ouija board?
No, but I get scared, but I want to.
Me too. I haven't done a Ouija board either. And how into that side I am, it's weird, but at the same time, like you said, I am so scared of doing it.
I feel like I have so much intent, and even if it wasn't real, I think I would connect things too much to it, even if it did happen.
Super open to it.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I guess if you close it properly, but I still think I would start to have weird dreams. I want to, but then I get scared.
You like accidentally manifest like some negative energy that comes in because you're thinking about it. Yeah. Yes. I'm going to bring it back down though, because at one of the times that they did use a Ouija board, Amy's best friend had mentioned in one of the documentaries that I watched, she remembers a time that they did the Ouija board, and one of the questions they asked was when they would die.
Oh.
Amy was doing it at that time, and the board spelled out soon.
No.
Yeah, that was really chilling.
I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
I have really full body shits, as we said in our last.
Full body shits. On Friday, October 27th, 1989, Amy got up that morning and she got ready for school like any other day. She had rode her bike that morning, which she did regularly. And she went to her and her brother went to Bay Village Middle School in Ohio. She locked up her bike on the bike rack and she went to class. Amy and Margaret, her mom, they had talked about coming home just a little bit later that day because she was planning to audition for the choir.
Okay.
So in this case, her mom wouldn't necessarily be expecting her immediately to call her.
Oh, okay.
So it was a pretty regular day at school, except they did have a guest speaker, and it was an officer. He had come in to talk to the kids about stranger danger and what to maybe look out for and what to do if they're in a situation. Amy was in the 5th grade and her brother was in the 7th grade. 5th graders got out 1 hour earlier than the 7th graders. Once 2 o'clock rolled around, Amy was done with school for the day, and instead of going to the choir auditions that she had discussed with her mom, she ended up leaving the school with 2 of her friends, and they walked over to the Bay Village Shopping Center, which is like a plaza. Now, I guess this was pretty normal for the kids to do after school. It was kind of just like the hangout spot. They went over to the plaza to hang out, and there was a Baskin Robbins there, like an ice cream shop, so that attracted a lot of the attention.
It's like a Starbucks for the kids.
Yeah. Once Amy and her 2 friends had got to the plaza, from there it seems like they just kind of parted ways. Like they all had their own thing that they were going to be doing by the sounds of it.
But she was originally supposed to go to some kind of a class.
Yeah, so instead of going to her choir auditions, she ended up leaving the school with 2 other friends.
Okay.
Yeah. Amy's brother, Jason, he made his way over to the plaza because he was going to go redeem a coupon or whatever from Baskin Robbins, but he immediately left because he's seen some kids that were bullying him, so he didn't even make it in there.
That's sad.
He didn't even cross paths with his sister. At that time that the 2 friends parted ways, that would be the last time that anybody would see Amy alive.
Stress me out.
He headed home right from there, and since Amy got out an hour earlier than him, he expected her to be at home like any other day.
And he didn't know about her audition that she was supposed to go to?
I'm not 100% sure. He wasn't sure what was, like, he's in the 7th grade. All he knows is, what the heck, where's my sister?
Okay.
But she wasn't there. He must have had a feeling that something was off and not just like a fluke, because after looking around, he knew he just had to call his mom. And this brings us back to the very beginning. So Margaret, Amy's mom, gets home around 4:30 p.m. And like I mentioned, all hopes of Amy being home, they're gone. From here is like, okay, let's go to where I know she was last, which was at the school. So she goes there and Amy is not there, but her bike is there. Remember how I said she locked her bike up on the bike rack and she went to school, and then after she left on foot?
Okay.
Amy's bike is still at the school, locked up on the rack, but Amy is nowhere to be found.
That's chilling.
That would be absolutely terrifying. So,
yeah.
And it was terrifying for Margaret. Obviously there was a lot of panic at this point. So she leaves from the school and she goes right to the police station. She reports this. And luckily the police take it seriously immediately.
Good.
Because all Margaret knows is that if she wasn't at home, she should still be at the school. There was no other plans that she knew of.
What about the audition?
Well, at the school.
Oh, the audition was at the school. Okay.
Yeah, so if she is anywhere, she should be at that school. But
Okay.
she's not. So, yeah, she goes to the police take it serious immediately. By 6 p.m., Amy's dad gets home from work. He actually had gotten back from a work trip. So when he gets home, he is greeted with this. Remember, it's 89. There's no just making a quick text or phone call.
He's expecting to be like, oh, daddy's home. Oh, it's his little girl. Oh, my God.
Yeah, he gets home and Amy's not there. And obviously his wife is in a panic and everything. So from here, Margaret and Mark, they start calling everywhere. Like, is it maybe Amy's at a friend's house and just forgot to say something? She's 10 years old. They said it would be very unlike Amy because she was so responsible. But who knows? Maybe that was the case. But we unfortunately know that that was not the case. She wasn't at anybody's house. By 9 p.m., friends in the neighborhood and just neighbors, they all came to their home. They were there to offer support and help in the search, whatever they needed. At one point, Amy's best friend's mom, she took a photo of Amy and she drove it straight to Channel 3 at the time, and she pleaded with them to put Amy's picture on the news and report her missing. Initially, Channel 3 was kind of reluctant. They were trying to tell her that it hadn't been 24 hours and they're not going to do that. But the police are literally taking this more seriously than the media.
Wow.
But eventually, they did post her picture on the news channel.
Yeah, this was before Amber Alerts, hey?
Yeah, this woman who did this, she realized that Amy's photo did actually end up on the news, because when she was pulling back up to the house, she heard Amy's mom let out like a primal scream.
Oh.
When she saw her baby's face on the news. Like, I feel like
my God.
you don't even know what kind of scream your body can make when it's about your kids. Do you know what I mean? Like, because your babies are like, they run in your veins.
Oh, that kills me.
So terrible. So
that makes me feel sick.
I know.
Ugh.
So by morning, Amy had still not come home. They hadn't found her. They had no information to go off except Amy was not home after school. Her bike that she loved was still locked up. Officers had spoken to her family and the people in her life, and they were able to rule them out, that they were at work when this happened. By the morning, they also had over 3 dozen police officers that were working this.
3 dozen?
They were really taking this seriously to find Amy.
Wow.
Eventually that day, a friend of Amy's walks into the police station with her stepdad because she has something to tell them. And this would be the key piece of information that would give the police their first direction to go in. So Amy's friend told police that during lunch the day before, so the day before Amy went missing, Amy had told her that she had gotten a call from this man and he was looking to help Amy get a present for her mom, Margaret. He told her that her mom was promoted and he just wanted to get a present for her.
She got a call at home from this guy?
She got a call at home, yep.
Okay.
And he was asking Amy to come with him to get that present. And if she did that, he would also get her a present. And it was supposed to be a surprise present. So Amy's in the 5th grade. This person says that he knows her mom and is trying to surprise her mom with a present, which is going to make her mom happy. So Amy being in the 5th grade, she just wants to make her mom happy.
Yeah.
So she thinks she's doing a good thing here. So she was told that it should be a secret, but again, Amy's in the 5th grade, so she told her friends at lunch.
And a 5th grader is about the age of, hold on, I'm thinking right
10.
now. Oh, yeah, sorry. So a 10-year-old, the brain of a 10-year-old is, I don't want to say naive, but they certainly have the benefit of the doubt, especially when it comes to an adult and a figure of authority in their mind.
Well, yeah, and this person said he knows her mom.
Yeah, and so she obviously views her mom very highly, and if this person is saying that they want to gift her something, she's going to believe them.
Exactly. So yeah, Amy, she did tell a friend. So this is where we know where to look next for Amy. I'm so happy that this happened the next day. So at this point, we now know why Amy said that she was going to choir auditions, like she discussed with her mom, but she ended up going to the plaza.
Oh, so she wanted to keep it a secret that she was going to get this. Oh, that breaks my goodness gracious heart.
Yeah, she was just keeping it a secret.
Oh my God, that is fucking heartbreaking.
So heartbreaking. Never keep a secret with an adult.
That is so fucked up.
She just wanted to do something so sweet and nice
That's
for her
so
mom.
innocent.
I know.
And this person is preying on this. Oh my God. I
She
hate
just thinks
people.
she's just telling a little white lie for a good reason.
Wow. How do you protect your kids from these fucking monsters?
Like with letting them live a life, but also wanting to protect them. So she was last seen at the Bay Village shopping center in Bay Village, Ohio. She was wearing turquoise heart earrings, a light green sweatsuit. I believe she was wearing a windbreaker and black ankle boots.
Oh my God, that is so coincident. Like, that's so
Yeah.
typical 80s.
So cute. So with this information, police, like I said, there was over 3 dozen police officers. They started their search in the last place she was. They had canines out. They had helicopters, planes, ground searches going on. Eventually, the FBI was brought out, and they provided over 60 agents to
Wow.
help. People were taking this very seriously and very to heart.
Good.
So, with this search and knowing where the last place Amy was, this is where we get our second new piece of information that's going to help us understand what happened when Amy got to this plaza. They were able to find 2 eyewitnesses. They were 2 other 11-year-olds. One was standing by the Baskin Robbins, and the other one was at the opposite end of the plaza. Both had seen Amy when Amy separated from her friends. Both had seen Amy standing alone by a pole and just kind of waiting around. Eventually, a man showed up and walked up to Amy. He put his hand on her back and they started walking. At that point, these witnesses, they just kind of lost interest. They're 11 years old, they lost interest and they went back to what they were doing.
What?
Yeah, because they don't know if Amy knows this person or not.
I guess if she went with him willingly.
Yeah, there was no fight or anything. He just walked up, put his hand on her back, and they started to walk away.
That's gross.
That's terrifying. But the witnesses, they were able to provide some information about what this man looked like. Mind you, it is from 2 kids, and it was for a brief moment, but they did do their best on what they could see about him. They said he was about 30 to 40 maybe. He was muscular. He had dark wavy hair with a bald spot, maybe around 5'11", and one said that he had round glasses, but the other one couldn't recall whether he did have glasses or not.
I'm impressed that they could
That's
kind of nail down an age too.
I wonder if the police had some, like, were questioning them on what they may have found, and then they were able to come up with, you know what I mean?
Because also 30 and a bald spot.
Yeah, I mean, I hope this person had a massive bald spot and was self-conscious about it, but
yeah, and got it in his 20s.
Yeah, that would be great. With that description that we were able to get from these 2 eyewitnesses, and a composite sketch was drawn up and it was sent out. It generated hundreds of calls. Police and agents, they rifled through so many calls and followed up on so many leads. Eventually, a letter had been sent out to the school. They wanted to just see if any other kids received a call that was maybe similar to the one that Amy had reportedly got. Because kids will guess up, but they don't really understand that it may have been weird in the moment and then forget about it and then not say anything. So they wanted to see if maybe that was the case. Yeah, so the community, they also rallied together in such a beautiful way. They were helping putting up missing person photos. They created what was called Amy Center. That was ran out of one of the buildings in the community, and they would all just volunteer there. People would come in and they would fold and mail out hundreds of flyers, and those were sent throughout the whole country. People would come in and they donate food to the family and the officers and the agents that were working the case. Like, they cared so much about this little girl. Eventually, a psychological profile was made of the man who possibly took Amy. They were able to come up with the fact that he was probably greatly thrilled by the planning of this entire thing, and also the part of putting it into action.
That intrigues me so much.
Yeah.
The fact that they can come up with a profile. There's an actual job for people to go in and profile these fucking phantoms of terror.
It's so crazy. I would just like to be in that field. They concluded that he was probably a pretty confident person, but very manipulative.
Oh, yeah.
He was also probably pretty confident, specifically around girls, not women, girls. They also put together a video of Amy that was taken while she was doing a school presentation, and they released that video nationwide. You can still find it. This was done so, one, they could bring a massive amount of attention to this case, and also to humanize Amy, that she was a missing girl, but she is a little girl who is alone right now. Their family misses her, and this is how she was. Still not come home by the time December 11th had rolled around, which would have been her 11th birthday. Her family was obviously distraught over this. Margaret, her mom, had wrote a letter for her 11th birthday, and it seems like it was a letter that just almost like she was still talking to Amy.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to read the letter on here just because her brother had read the letter on the documentary that I watched, and I think I just want to leave it for the family to read something like that. I feel like it's incredibly personal. A letter that a mom is writing so she can still speak to her baby that's missing. One of the plethora of heartbreaking things in this letter, she said, "We got a birthday present for you, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because you're just going to open it for yourself when you get home."
Fucking,
you know, like this
put
letter,
a stake through my heart.
Yeah, this letter was truly just to talk to Amy in some way. In an interview Mark was in, Amy's dad, he had mentioned that when Amy's birthday rolled around, he had an overwhelming feeling that his little girl was gone.
No.
Just so terrible.
An intuitive feeling.
Yeah. So
horrible.
Eventually, February 8th, 1990 rolled around. On this day, Amy's body was found. So any hope that there may have been previous, that was gone.
Oh my God.
She ended up being found by a jogger that was out on an early morning run. And
fucking don't go jogging.
And it was like a township road, you know, like not a highway, like off the beaten path kind of. So the jogger is out for a run and comes across some clothes that were kind of off to the side. And she was confused. So she walks up to these clothes, and that is when she sees the body of a little girl.
Oh my God.
Who was badly decomposed at that time. Immediately, this jogger reported what they found, and over 40 agents arrived to the scene right away.
And then she went and bought herself a treadmill.
To never go running
outside.
Again.
Running again.
I don't think, would you ever go running again outside?
Honestly, if I was selling treadmills, I'd probably market the fact that you wouldn't, if you bought my treadmill, you'd never have to run into a dead body.
No kidding. Like, this is like scarring for life. So was confirmed to be Amy. And this went from a kidnapping missing case to a murder.
Do we know how it was confirmed? Because it would be really decomposed at that point.
Well, I'll talk about her going to she went in an autopsy and everything like that.
Okay.
Yeah. After Amy's body was found, a memorial was had in her honor. The church, it was at capacity. Like, it was overflowing. There were friends, family, volunteers, agents, officers, people that they didn't even know. Just everybody showed up for this little girl.
Oh.
But there was obviously still an investigation that was on the go.
I wonder if the guy or woman or person, however they identify, showed up there?
Well, they did have, I guess, hidden cameras in the church, and they had officers and agents inside and outside just to keep an eye on everything.
Oh.
But it didn't really give any more information at that point.
Oh, that's too bad.
But I do wonder, even if they
Because that
didn't
happens.
see, it totally happens.
Yeah.
So Amy was found still in her sweatsuit, her green sweatsuit. She was missing her shoes, her turquoise horse head earrings,
Oh.
her windbreaker, and her backpack. Those were all missing.
Okay. Weird.
In the search of the area, they found about like 100 feet away from her, they found a homemade curtain and a blanket.
What?
They're thinking that these were used to move her. I don't know why
Okay.
they were found away from her. Maybe the way I really don't know, but they do believe that they do not think that Amy was killed there. They just think that's where she was discarded.
That's disgusting.
An autopsy was done, but again, there was so much decomposition so they didn't have too much to work with. They couldn't definitively prove that there was a sexual assault, but it is noteworthy that her underwear was on, but inside out.
Oh, gross.
She had many blows to the back of her head, but the cause of death was being stabbed in the neck 4 times.
Oh my God.
How savage is that?
So they hit her on the back of the head to kind of knock her out. Not knock her out, but get her.
Who knows? Maybe they thought
off.
that would kill her.
And then they stabbed her in the neck. Oh my God, this baby.
And in the neck.
Oh my God.
How just.
And a little 10-year-old head. It's so tiny.
You're going to make me like choke. Yeah. Really terrible.
So we're in Ohio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she went missing in October, so we're kind of over the winter months. There, it's cold there, right?
I actually don't know the weather.
Yeah, I'm just so bad
I have
at
no
that.
idea.
I'm just wondering if her body, I mean, it was obviously decomposed, but how it's not like it was, the summertime in Florida. So I'm just wondering if it was preserved at all with. Oh, it would be cold for sure because it's right near Toronto. We should know this.
We should know, but we don't because we're dumb.
I mean, it would so for sure it's cold because Ohio is
through winter.
Oh yeah, and Ohio is right underneath Toronto. So and right near the cold. Her body would have been frozen at some point. So it was definitely not as decomposed as it would be if it was in the summertime.
Yeah, and like you said, or like in Florida or something. After the autopsy, they were also able to conclude that she would have been killed, if not on the same day that she was taken, then at least within a couple days of it.
Oh my God.
So very, very quickly. I'm
fascinated that they can confirm that kind of information. Horrified that that's the truth, but also fascinated that type of expertise.
Yeah, and it just keeps advancing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's just it. We're in the 80s, and that's even more impressive.
Yeah. They were able to get all of that, but again, we're in 89 right now, or we're in 1990 right now. So DNA.
The year I was born.
Me 5 years later, your best friend was born.
And my husband.
And your husband.
That's weird.
Funny. That's weird.
It's because I'm so immature, right? You guys are mature and I'm immature, so
we just connected right away.
Yeah. So funny. And I will add to that, with the DNA thing being brand new, people at that time, they were very weary of it and kind of not, I don't know, now these days yeah, exactly. So now these days we're like, oh, the DNA is there, matches and everything. Yeah, back then it was kind of new, and people on juries and in those situations, when DNA was brought up, it was kind of like, I don't know, that's kind of new agey stuff.
Like, here we go with the DNA.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, that's not proven. That's kind of
It's
stuff.
crazy because I couldn't imagine a time where I wouldn't trust DNA.
Right.
That's
Even
really scary.
we go back to the kind of beginning of the case here where guy was coming in about stranger danger. That was new in the 80s.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in 1990. So even with all of that information, DNA was not even a little bit as advanced as it is, say, today. So they did have limited resources for what they could work with. Amy's mom, she did everything she could possibly do to keep her daughter in the media. She really wanted to make sure that she stayed on the front pages so nobody would forget about her. She did press, talk shows, anything. A lot of phone calls came up and a lot of leads came up. The letters that had been sent out from school to all the kids brought in some more information. They were able to confirm that actually many other girls received very similar calls from a man to the one that Amy got months prior to this.
What?
A lot of these girls want to stay anonymous because this case is still open. So
yeah.
Just that summer before, there was another little girl who had gotten a call, but her brother, so the phone had rang and her brother was the one to answer it, but she ultimately took over the call because I guess her brother was like, the man wants to arrange a time to meet up with you to go get a present. So he takes over the call, and this man on the other end is, like her brother said, he's trying to arrange a meeting with her because he's an old friend of her mom's. He hasn't seen her in a long time, so he wants to get a present for her, and he is asking for her to help him.
Holy shit. I need to talk to my kids tomorrow.
Seriously, he's calling people's homes, like almost knowing that there's not an adult there.
The fucking audacity of this
Like,
monster.
It almost makes me think that he was previously, like, watching certain kids.
Absolutely. I think it's somebody at the school or a teacher from the school. Because how the hell else?
God. I have never heard this theory.
Well, I'm just like going off of kind of thinking, it's all these kids that they're asking about at the school. Back in the day, you could get a list of kids and their house phones.
That
now you can't.
Sick. Oh my God, that makes me so sick.
Because it's unsolved, right?
It is unsolved. Well, okay, let me keep going here because that is very interesting and absolutely terrifying. This girl, she had just ended the call with him. She had called her mom right away to tell her about it, and her mom made a police report. So there was a report of this. Yes, like right away.
And how old was this girl?
I believe they're all kind of within the same age. So in this same girl, after information about Amy's disappearance was released, the family calls the police again because they noticed the similarities in the call that they got, and an agent immediately goes out to their house to talk to them. In this home visit, this is where an agent notices there's horse ribbons up and like trophies and stuff. So he's like, where do you ride? Like, where do you ride? It turns out, if you remember, Amy rode all the time.
Yeah.
She also won ribbons and everything. It turns out that they went to the same stable.
Okay.
They did look into this quite extensively. Like, helicopters, canines searched the area of the stables. There was a man there that seemed like a pretty good suspect for this, but they ended up, like, after doing a deep dive into him and eventually using truth serum at one point.
Okay.
There's I don't know about that, but there was okay. They concluded there was just no way this guy could have done it. There was no way he could have done it, or even honestly could have pulled it off himself. He did also end up having a solid alibi. in the ground search, they did find a pair of green sweatpants in the area, but they weren't
girl
Amy's.
sweatpants?
But they were not Amy's. And if you remember, Amy was found in her green.
Yeah, I was just gonna say she wasn't missing.
So unfortunately, that lead didn't pan out, but there was still the fact that this girl did receive a similar phone call to Amy. They also did find out that those 2 calls were still not the only calls made to young girls in the area.
Gross.
2 sisters had called the police to tell them that they also received a similar call from a man. He said that he worked with their mom. He asked for their age, who they were friends with, what they liked to do. He seems like he was really, really nice. But in this case, one sister believed him and one sister was very wary of the entire situation. And I guess this guy, he called more than once. Again, no adults home. It was on their home line.
You know what pisses me off is this guy obviously was learning what to say, what these girls were going to react to, what they were going to accept, what they were going to reject. And so clearly he had figured out exactly what to say. And I think that's important to say in this case because I don't want it to seem like Amy was this naive little girl. Right. Clearly, she was very intelligent, but this man who lured her had so much practice prior to talking to her, and that aggravates me entirely.
Yeah. Makes me so really, really good point. And one of the sisters actually began to notice that every single time they got a call, there was a car parked outside on the street.
What?
They also wanted to stay anonymous. In another instance, another little girl reported that she got a call from a man. Again, this man claimed to know her mom and that he worked with her. He asked if he could pick her up from school one day. But that is when this little girl was like, oh, let me just go talk to my grandma to see about this. And that's when the man was trying to convince her not to obviously do that. And the call was ended.
Get fucked. Oh, that makes me that makes me so mad that there are people out there, they're preying on our children.
Oh, I know. And you know what? It reminds me of another case in Canada where a man kept calling around looking for a babysitter. I don't know if that rings any bells, but yeah, he kept calling around trying to see if somebody would babysit for him. I might do that case one day, but it's another just really terribly sad case about a child. So I don't know if I will, but it definitely reminded me of this because he
was looking for a baby. He was looking for a babysitter himself, or he was looking to babysit.
No, he was looking for somebody to come babysit, and I believe it was in the 80s too. So he would call and he would they'd arrange a time for one of the babysitters to go. It's so terrible.
Ugh, people are so fucked up.
It was just a ruse, in this case. With all these reports of calls that were being received from a male saying generally the same thing, they wanted to know what the connection might have been between all of these girls. It turns out that all of these kids at some point, whether it was on a field trip or personal, they all had went to Lake Eerie Nature Science Center. And anytime anybody was there, you were required to sign a logbook. So they find this connection and they head right over there. But this logbook went missing and it was never found. Even though we weren't able to find an actual suspect from this, again, they were able to establish that there was somebody preying on kids in the area and they had a way of doing it.
All of these girls went to Lake Eerie
Science Center, yeah, at some point.
Science Center. What? That's too much.
Really weird.
This case is gonna get solved. That's
it's
too.
Got to.
Yeah.
It's got to. So after that, they had another piece of information come along. A woman had come forward and she told the police that one night on the road that Amy had been found off of, she had seen a man who was pulled over and he was standing behind his vehicle with the hatch open. She was able to tell them that the vehicle was dark and it was adjacent to where Amy ended up being found. And she didn't, I'm assuming she didn't really think anything of this at the time.
No.
But they talked to her, exactly. They talked to her a little bit further and they were able to come up with a new composite sketch. She described him as possibly around 6 foot, white male, about 25 to 35. He was light in complexion and he had dark hair.
And a bald spot?
That wasn't mentioned. It was nice, but I hope it was massive. So, like I said, from here, another composite sketch was made and it was released. But again, nothing really came from that. That was substantial enough to figure out who a suspect could be.
I mean, that's pretty generic though. That's like honestly, apart from the bald spot. I mean, like if you said like a 6 foot dude with,
Well, and the composite sketches, each of them, they really just look like any other guy. There wasn't anything significant about this person. I'll put the pictures on our Instagram of the sketches.
Yeah, like there was no tattoos or
like nothing to go off of. Even though at this point the investigation is slowing right down, nobody is forgetting about it. Obviously not the family, and officers and agents, they were always searching for answers and following up on leads throughout many years. To this day, they are still trying.
Are they? So it's not a cold case?
It's not. I mean, it's a cold case in terms of it happened in 89, but it's not just put up on the shelf, if you will.
Oh, so they're
trying to find something, which makes me just so happy, because obviously they need to work on more present cases, but they really just keep this one at the forefront as much as they can.
Well, and DNA and everything is becoming more. Even they caught the Hillside Strangler.
Yeah, and April Tinsley's.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not too far from here, I believe. Like DNA, it's making me happy seeing some of the really old cases be solved, and I really hope that this is one of them.
I think it will be.
The community at one point was tying ribbons on all the trees in the town. To this day, if you're ever outside of the Bay Village City Hall, you will see a silhouette of a horse head, and that is in honor of Amy.
What color were the ribbons, do you know?
White.
Oh.
This absolutely rocked this community forever. Margaret ended up co-founding the community fund, assisting missing youth and also educating kids about stranger danger.
So it must have been new then. I feel like that whole stranger danger must have been new.
I think so too. October 2024 has marked 35 years since Amy was abducted and killed.
Holy shit.
Today, Amy would be around 40 years old.
Oh, wow.
Fortunately, Mark and Margaret ended up divorcing in 2000, so a year after their daughter was found. And I really don't know how you would go on.
Definitely probably broke them. I feel like that would break a lot of relationships.
Yeah, because your soul is just crushed.
And then, there's the, blame game and
all these different ways of, I don't think there's a book on how to handle this kind of grief.
No, that's
especially in that time.
Yeah.
But yeah. Unfortunately, a year after that, in 2001, Margaret passed away. Which just
so she never got to know what happened to her daughter,
or even just more advancement in the case. Nothing. Amy's dad, Mark, and her brother, Jason, they are still doing what they can to find justice. They still do, like in this documentary, interviews, things like that.
Yeah.
Evidence from Amy's case has stayed locked up ever since. Just like I said, they did not just pop it on the shelf. They actually still even have Amy's bike that was left locked up at the school.
Oh, good. Because there's so many times where cases like this, and it's like, oh, evidence got destroyed.
I know. So obviously Amy's clothing and the homemade curtain and blanket that were found at the scene were examined back in 1990. But as we talked about before, DNA was not even a little bit as advanced as it is today. They had to they followed upon leads and information that came in, but for all the case definitely got cold throughout the years. We know at some point that they were able to determine that microfibers on Amy's clothes, they were from a camel colored carpet that normally would have been in GM vehicles, and particularly GM vehicles that were made throughout 1975 to 1978.
Oh.
So that gives us a little bit more information. As of 2021, police were able to confirm that hair found on the homemade curtain was Amy's hair. So they know, yes, it was at some point it was on Amy.
So they kind of rolled her body into this curtain to, I don't know. So then that makes me feel like there's more than one person involved. Because if they,
I don't know. I only get the feeling there's one.
But if they're, I don't know, if they're rolling their body on, or rolling her body onto a piece of material or a curtain or a sheet or anything.
But she's only 10 years old. He could just pop her right over his shoulder in this curtain.
I guess. What if there is somebody else involved? What if there are more than one person, though? Is that even anything that's kind of been...
I've never seen that come up.
Because I don't know. I mean, if there's like a sheet, you'd think, I don't know, somebody had
with
one
all of those phone calls from one person and changing the way that, I don't know. I just get the feeling there's one.
Fucking creep.
One creep, yeah.
Who's hopefully dead now.
So several of the items that were missing when Amy was found, they were most likely taken as trophies.
Gross. Fucking gross.
I know.
I hate that. So, okay, I'm going to go on a little rant right now, but a tiny little rant. But
yeah,
trophies are fucking gross. I hate that shit. That is
so you could look back at what horrible thing you did.
That is, and the fact that they're called trophies, it bothers me so much on a level that I can't explain, because personally, when I get a trophy, I've gotten trophies. I've, been a dancer and I've gotten trophies, and that's something to be proud about. And the fact that they call those trophies, it just bothers me on a level I cannot.
Like a prize for what they've done.
It's disgusting.
That is just terrible. I don't think I've ever gotten a trophy in my life.
Oh, I have, and it's like I have. Sorry. Oh, I have. No, I have, and it's great. Like, obviously, you've worked hard to get a trophy. That's the thing. I think that's why it bothers me so much.
Yes,
you work so hard. You put
it's like your consolation prize, like a good job.
But so it bothers me so much that it's called a trophy. I think it should be called something else. I don't know. It just bothers me so much.
I 100% agree. These items, it has been 35 years and still these have never been found. It makes me think, like, in all of this time, has somebody seen these items laying around and not think anything of it somewhere out there?
Or has he done this more than once?
I would think more than once.
Absolutely.
There's actually quite a few cases around the area of girls going missing. But I wanted to just kind of stay focused on Amy for this case. But there is, can go down a rabbit hole.
Okay. This needs to be
it's interesting that you said that.
For sure.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So as of 2024, they had retested some of Amy's clothes and they were able to find male DNA. But there wasn't enough to get a DNA profile from what they found. But luckily, they're able to try to send it. Well, they're trying to send it to a way more advanced lab to see if there's any possible way they can get a DNA profile.
Do we know if we're more advanced in North America or if there are more advanced DNA labs in, I don't know, like South Korea or Europe? Or,
yeah, no, I don't know, but that's an interesting
aliens.
Point. Aliens? I feel like they're like, you idiots, we already know what happened.
Yeah.
Well, they do still do run for it in relation to Amy's case, and it's kind of like a way to raise funds for DNA testing.
Okay.
So there's lots of stuff that's still happening to try and help this case. And I did see there is somewhere on the FBI page relating to this case, there is somewhere that if anybody knows anything, seen something similar, maybe like those trophies or something in passing at some point or another, maybe a relative have said something in the past, like who knows? It's been 35 years. You can go to the FBI website. There is somewhere that you go and submit any tips, and it can be anonymous. And I will put photos of Amy and the curtain and the blanket and a link for the FBI website in case anybody...
Yeah, we'll put those links in our show notes.
Like I said, 35 years is a long time. Many lives have been lived in that time. Like grandparents, aunties, uncles, like somebody, if you heard anything at some point or another. I don't think any tip is too small at this point.
No.
But yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we're at with this case.
That's scary.
Really scary.
And yeah, I guess we just need to make sure our kids are, educated.
Stranger danger is
stranger
spoken about.
danger.
I actually started talking to my oldest about stranger danger, like what to do if somebody comes up and tries to like grab you or come talk to you and we're not there.
Also, though, I want to add, because of our last case, it's not always a stranger. Sometimes it's family.
Absolutely.
We need to, if even a family member, anything feels off, always come back and ask your parents, someone you trust, if that feels right.
I've been talking to my oldest too about like, she's been big into like, oh, let me tell you a secret, like to me and my husband as like, and she'll just like whisper in our ears, like whoosh, 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 as a secret. Yeah. And I'm like, you can tell mommy and daddy secrets, but you don't have secrets with anybody else. You come and you talk to mommy and daddy.
That's really good. I need to tell my kids that.
Because you don't need to have secrets with anybody else. You can have fun with your parents, and there's things that you tell your parents you don't want everybody to know, and that's it.
I mean, sometimes there are terrible parents out there too, but I mean, I don't want to do any cases about that, but there are terrible parents out there. But yeah, that's
for this week.
I mean, I hope
I'm going to keep a close eye on this, and you bet I will be doing an update on this when we hear something. And I'm going to say when, because I'm going to put all the positive energy and vibes out there that one day we will have this solved.
I think we will. Honestly, I think her case kind of came up in unfortunately a time where DNA was kind of people weren't sure about, and they were and it was
this was actually like interesting fact. This was 7 years before John Bonet.
Oh, okay. Which is still an unsolved case too. Yeah, no, I think with all of that evidence, especially with the science center in Eerie Lake, and
somebody has to know something.
Definitely.
Somebody
and so many phone calls. I mean, come on.
Did he do this in different towns? Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I guess if you have questions for us or want to contact us, you can find us on Dark Narratives Podcast at Instagram, Dark Narratives Podcast and TikTok.
You can also email us at darknarrativespodcast@gmail.com. Anywhere you can reach out to us.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
And that's it for this week.
And that's it for this week. See you next time. And that's it for this week.
Remember, it's a dark world out there. See you creatures next week.